For the children's story today, I would like to talk a little bit about this bird. Actually, it's not so much of the details about what the bird is like, but it's a little story about an egret. And it says this: the beautiful white feathers flumes on the back of the egrets bounced rhythmically in the air as he picked up a twig and then bowed respectfully before his mate. The graceful ceremony was repeated several times. Then both egrets sprang into the air and seemed to defy gravity as their huge wings slowly lifted them higher and higher. They had chosen their nesting site in the crotch of a tree 120 feet above the lonely marsh. 3 eggs were laid in the nest, and the parents began the long vigil of incubation. One night, there was a violent storm. The tall tree swayed dangerously in the wind. The thinly lined nest was unable to prevent 2 eggs from slipping through the loose construction and falling to the rocks below. The mother egret carefully guarded the remaining egg. Finally, the day arrived when the little egret broke through its shell, totally dependent upon the parents for survival. However, a new threat faced all 3 of them now. Food became short, unusually scarce. Each day it became harder to locate fish, frogs, snakes, or crayfish. One day, the egrets saw a visitor in a nearby meadow. They watched as he tossed a crust of bread into the brush. When he left, the male egret gracefully glided down, picked up the crust in its long pointed bill, and flew back to its hungry family. His mate quickly broke off portions of the crust and gave it to the chick. While the chick was eating, its mother also devoured several pieces. In a short time, only 1 piece of the crust remained. Rather than giving it to the chick or its mother, the male grabbed it and flew out of the nest. He landed in a nearby edge of an inlet on the marsh. Slowly he walked into the water. Carefully he leaned over and placed the precious little piece of bread on the water. Then he waited. A delicious-looking bass cautiously swam up to the bread and began nibbling on it. The egret slowly coiled his neck as the bass began to swim away. Then, with a flash of whiteness, the long neck struck out, piercing the water. He withdrew his beak, flipped the bass into the air, and caught it in his mouth. Then he returned to the nest. Now he was able to share a nourishing fish with the hungry family because he had made the best use of his limited resources. Would you agree? Yeah. It's amazing how God has put all kinds of things in the things that he has created that are examples for us as well in many areas of life. And certainly in the egret we can see resourcefulness and using what it had to the best advantage of its little family.